All right, welcome back. So this is going to be part 2 of Adobe Camera Raw. And look, I understand we've skipped over things. We'll get to them in time. Today, we're going to take a look at some of these little icons that we see all over the program and what they do. And then we're going to switch on over to selective adjustments. And then in the next and last video, we'll take a look at all these things, what they do, and then the crop tool, the cloning tool, and all this other stuff that we see. So this will be a 3-part series. We're breaking this up so it doesn't become overwhelming. All right, so let's come on down here, and in the bottom left-hand corner, actually, the top up here is our thumbnail, and you can actually import multiple images in here, and we'll get into that in the last video. And you can copy and paste settings. So if you had 2 portraits that were basically exactly the same, you could tone one of these here and then apply those settings to the other image. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we're just basically fitting this window. And this percentage is going to be dependent on the size of your image that your camera shoots and the resolution of your monitor. So we can see down here, mine is at 67.5%. And if we click and hold this, you can see there's a whole bunch of different viewing resolutions. And in my case, I'm just using fit to view. It's always on that. I never change it. The next icon down here is right here. And basically, we're going to set the thumbnails that we see on the top left-hand corner, which is right here. So they can either go down vertically or across horizontally. Since we have more screen width than vertical height, I usually put it on the left-hand side. If you want to get rid of it, you just left-click it, it goes away. If you want it back, you click that icon again. If you click and hold, you'll get a whole bunch of other options. And one of those other options that we see right here is horizontal, so it will make them go horizontal if we had a whole bunch. And if we click and hold and go to vertical, we'll see it. We'll just go ahead and click and hold. There are other options. So we've got some copy edit settings, the paste, so we can set ratings. So if I love this photo, I want to make it 5 stars, boom, you can see I made it 5 stars. If you do this in a program like Lightroom, Bridge, or anything like that, it will move that stuff over because all that stuff is saved in the metadata. I don't really use Bridge to call images and rate them. I've already done it by the time I've got here. This isn't something that I would ever do, but if you do want to do it, that is here. If you want to enhance, and we'll get to that, you can enhance, use noise resolution and that type of stuff. That's all available. If you want to show your file names, you can click that. It will show your file names. The last items are filter and sort. So you can filter your images by stars or whatever you wanted. That would only work if you had multiple images up. Once again, this is all something that I'm going to teach you how to do in a browser, not here. Or you can sort your images as well. So right here, you can see this is just the sort icon. And right here is the filter icon. So you can filter by star rating, color label, or you could show rejected and non-rejected image. Okay. So that's what those are there for. I don't use them in Adobe Camera Raw at all. Down here, we've kind of got before and after views. So I'm going to click and hold. This is a left click and hold, and you can see before and after, left and right. So if I was to make this really bright, you can see this is before, this is after. And when you do that, you've got a variety of different options of how that works. So you can do top, bottom, whatever makes you happy. And in my case, I'm going to go back to single view and we're good to go. We're going to come up here. Remember the option key, probably alt key on a PC will reset that. All right, so we're going to move on over to the right-hand side, but my picture's in the way, so you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to slide this over. All right, so in the right-hand side of the screen, which is located right here, and I've moved the screen over so it's not hidden behind my picture, just so you can see this. The first one's a zoom tool. You click on the zoom tool. Anywhere you click and drag, it will zoom into. And if you move to the left or right, it will move in and out. You can use the scroll window to go up and down. To get out of it, you hit that. Now, you can also zoom in and out by Command minus and plus or Control minus and plus on a PC. So Command minus zooms out, Command plus zooms in, and the most important one, Command or Control 0, fills the screen. Not something I really use in Adobe Camera Raw, but if you needed to. Next one is the hand move tool. So let's go ahead and do plus plus and zoom in. If this wasn't the area or you wanted to see down below or see above, you could click on this little move tool and then you can drag and move your screen around. However, let's click that off. It's easier to use the quick key, which is the space bar. So if you hit the space bar, it automatically turns into that move tool. And you'll find that your left hand, as long as you're not using your left hand, basically lives on the keyboard. So if you're using a mouse or a pen, the opposite hand's going to live on the keyboard, and it's going to hit toggle switches in pretty much every Adobe program. Down here, we have the color picker tool, so you can just pick colors right there, and it's showing you up here in the top right what that color picker color is. And then we have a grid. Also, and this is going to be hidden, so I'll show you this now, is we have cancel. So if I hit cancel, it's going to cancel everything that I've done. If I hit done, it's going to keep all the adjustments that I made, but just close out of Adobe Camera Raw. And if I hit open, it's going to open it into Adobe Photoshop. And we have different options. So we can go to open as a smart object, which I'll explain later, and open as a copy. I don't know why you would open as a copy for a raw file, because you can't overwrite a raw file anyway, so there's no real reason to do that, but you could if you wanted, I guess. So in my case, I usually just click the open and I'm good to go. All right, we're back to the normal screen, and on the top right hand side of the screen, right up here, we have this little teeny tiny icon with dots around it. And this is our masking icon. Now, masking is going to be the key to selective adjustments. So if we click that once, we're going to get a window and it says create a new mask. And we have bunch of main options and the little smaller options. And it's probably going to take us 2 weeks just to go through all of the different options, but we're going to start up here. So our first is subject, where if we click that, it's going to select our subject. We don't really have a subject, so we're going to skip that one. We're going to have sky, where it can select the sky, or in this case, which would be probably similar to the sky, which is background. Down here, we have objects. So if you had 20 pencils scattered throughout the screen, it'd be able to select them individually. We have brush, which is a manual selection. You just get a brush and you kind of apply where you want to make a selection. We can use a linear gradient. We can use a radial gradient, and we can use color ranges. So we can use here, if you click color range and luminance range. So by color or by brightness. We're going to stick with these top ones. We also have something even more sophisticated, and it selects people. And not only can it select the people, it can select their hair, their skin, their eyes, their lips, whatever you want. We'll take a look at that maybe today, but we'll go over it more in the future. So our first one here, looking at this image, is, we want to select the sky. Well, why? Because the exposures weren't so great, and the sky is a little overexposed, and here's a little bit dark. So let's go ahead and select that sky, and it's as easy as clicking. Now, when we do that, in the default mode, it's made the sky pink. All that's doing is saying, hey, this is what I selected. So wherever you see this red, it's a selection. If you don't like the red, you can come over here, click on this, pick a different color, okay? If you don't like the color, you have other options. So you can click the 3 little dots that we see right there, and we can look at it by a cover overlay on black and white. We can do it image on black and white, image on black, image on white. And what we're going to take a look at for a second here is white on black. A mask works like this. It is masking the adjustment. The adjustment is whatever we do over here on the right-hand side. So if I darken this area, you can see how it's darkening that sky, right? The adjustment's just happening in this white area. it's blocking it or hiding it in the black area. So wherever there's black, it hides the adjustment. Wherever there's white, it's showing it. So it's showing it and making our sky brighter. Now, right now we're seeing it as a mask, so we see it as white on black. If we want to see the adjustment, we can turn that off. So what did we do? Well, we darkened the sky, and now the sky is darker, but it didn't darken this area because we masked it off. So we can see that mask up here. Now we're going to go back to the color overlay. So if we want to see this in the color overlay mode, so this is the area that's masking, all right? If it starts to annoy you, because the only time you don't see the mask is when you make the adjustment. As you make an adjustment, it's going to remove the mask, but as soon as you let go, the mask pops back up. You can remove the overlay, and then it's just showing you, at this point, the adjustment. If we wanted to come over here and get some highlights, we could do that. That's what a mask does. It's hiding and showing an adjustment. An adjustment could be one or multiple selections over here. So if I wanted to do everything, it still show in this area, okay? And it's only going to be showing in the white area, and it's showing you made an adjustment by this little icon. Now let's say we made this sky adjustment, but we want to add a new adjustment, okay? We can come up here and then click Create New Mask, all right? So we've got the plus, and then we've got Create New Mask. We're going to click that, and then it's going to give us the option, hey, what kind of mask would you want to create? So we could select any of these that we have here. However, in this case, we actually want to select the opposite of the sky. So we have something built in that makes it really simple. So right over here, we have 3 little dots next to the mask. See the 3 little dots? All right. The eyeball just turns it off to show you what it was like before and what it's like now. It's like a before and after. In this case, we're going to click this. All right. And we can do lots of things. We could invert our mask so that now the darkening is happening here and nothing's happening here. We've just made what was black white and what was white black. You can go to invert, back, and it's back to how it was. What we want to do is duplicate and invert. So it's going to duplicate the mask, but invert it. Well, why? Because, well, now we want to adjust this. Maybe we want to open up the shadows so that this area isn't so dark. But when we did this, it made some other areas like over here a little bit brighter than maybe we wanted to. So we can see this is the mask. I'll give you the big view because it's easier to look at. So this is our mask now. So this is where everything that's being affected, and the black, nothing's being affected, okay? So we're going to go back to color overlay. But in this case, we don't want it to happen here. We don't like the way it looks, and I'm going to turn this off. So what we're going to do is subtract from the mask because we want to remove that area. If we add, we're adding more to it. We're going to hit subtract. When we do that, it's going to ask us how. We're going to use the brush. So the brush is right here. And the brush works like this. If you look, there's 2 circles. So we have an inner circle, not the blue one. These are the white circles. The inner one. The inner circle is 100% of the adjustment. And then there's a second one on the outer ring. That area is a transition. So it's going to go from 100% to 0%. And what that's going to do, it's going to remove the hard edge. And I'll show you here in a second what that looks like. I usually use a feather of about 53. So the size is controlling the size of your brush. Okay, you can also use the bracket keys next to the letter P. So bracket, bracket, right bracket makes it bigger, left bracket makes it smaller. You can also use your scroll on the mouse. So up makes it bigger, down makes it smaller. So we have feather. We're going to do the size. Leave the flow and density at 100. We'll get into that in another video. But we want to subtract. So we're going to make this pretty big, and we're going to take it out of this area right here. So all we're doing is painting black into this mask. All right. So you can see So you can see up here in this mask now we painted this little black area. So let's go back to the black on white. And we're saying, hey, we're just painting black. This area, we don't want that area to have the shadows lighten. So lightening the shadows here, not lightening the shadows here. So we will go back to the color overlay, turn that off. Now we'll see what this does. So we'll turn this on and off so you can see it was darker, now it's lighter. It's only happening in this area. I could paint it out of this area because truthfully, I don't really want to have it there. So I just wanted it in this location. That's good. What if I want to darken this area down here? Well, this would be a good option to use that luminance value, but luminance will happen anywhere that value is. I'm going to do this manually by using the brush. So we're going to come up here, once again, hit create new mask. We're going to go to brush. We're going to make our brush really small because I only want to affect this little area down here. And we're going to just paint a mask into that highlight area. I'm not going to spend tons of time. Normally I would be more accurate. Got that mask there. I'm going to lower the contrast. This helps for darkening things. And you can see we can just in that area so it's not so bright. So that was a selective adjustment there. If you wanted to go back and adjust any of these, you just click on the mask that you want and it would be back here to let you adjust something. So this is the sky. I can come back in and adjust it by doing that. That's how masks work. Black hides, white shows. They're more sophisticated than that. And you're going to use the exact same process when you're inside of Adobe Photoshop. So let's go ahead and get rid of all that. So we remember when we click on the mask, we get this. So we've got subject, sky, background. So I'm going to hit done and I'm going to bring up a subject. So we are looking at that image that we had the other day. So this little icon right up here that looks like a bunch of sliders with circles brings you back to the main global editing. If we want to go into the selective editing, we click here. If we want to go back to the main editing, we click there. So that is that icon, selective editing there. So we're going to click that. We're going to hit our subject. So if we click subject, it's going to make a mask of our subject, right? So we can see all that red. And then if we adjust that, and I'll do it a lot so you can see it, it's applying that just to our subject. Now, what if I just wanted to select the background and didn't want to use that invert? Well, I can just hit background because we know that's going to work as a selection. And then bam, instead of the subject, we got the background. I could come in here, I could darken that area. And just like that, we've made a mask. That mask, white area is the background, the black area is the person. Now, what if I want to create a new mask? And in this case, we're going to go to select people. When you select a person, you can refine the area of the person that you wanted selected. And this works for multiple people. And in the last video, I'll show you how that works. So you can see right up here, we have this is the person. It's showing you the person. And then right here, it's the whole person is selected right now. But if I want to turn that off, I can say, hey, I just want the skin. Okay. And maybe the body skin or the eyebrows or the whites of the eye or the iris and pupil, the lips, the teeth, the hair, and the clothes. So in this one, I just want to darken this bright area of the skin on her face and maybe her lips. So we'll click the lips. Okay. So I've got two separate areas and we're going to hit create and it's going to make a mask up here. To see the mask, I can just do the white on black because it shows you what the mask looks like. That's our mask. Remember, white's where it's going to happen. Black is where it isn't. And look, if it was, I didn't want the ears, we could take that out. So I could hit subtract, brush. I could just paint that out. So if I didn't want it on that ear, I could easily do it. And if it was spilling over here, I can remove it there. So these are editable. Just because you make a mask doesn't mean you can't manipulate the mask. So let's go back up to color overlay. And in this case, I'm going to turn this off so we can see all the time. I'm going to lower my contrast. I'm just going to start darkening her face because her face is just a little bit darker than the rest of her body. Maybe we'll do highlights. All right. And so just like that, we've darkened the face and the lips just a little bit, and it's only happening in that selective area. That is the basics of how to make a selective mask. We will go into the rest of the options in the next video. What I want you to do now is to go ahead and practice learning how to make a selective adjustment, how to add, how to subtract, how to make the adjustment, and then make a secondary selection on the same image. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Play around with the different overlays. I don't care which one you use. Find one that you think looks the best. And then when we come back the next time, we will take a look at the rest of these and we will get further into the selective adjustments. And then we'll come over here and take a look at enhance, which gives you the option to double the resolution of your image and has the new denoise filter inside of it. If you found this video helpful, you can give us a thumbs up. That would be great. Feel free to share this with your friends and family on social media. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. Don't forget to subscribe and have an absolutely wonderful day.